You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the June 13th meeting of the Michigan City Board of Aviation Commissioners. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Aviation Commissioners Monthly Meeting, June 13th. It's 1 o'clock. Members present: T.Y. Okeson, Kurt Hunter, Greg Poole, and myself, Jeff Bartlett. Others present, we have Michigan City, we have Jessica Ward, Airport Manager. We have Paul Schaefer from BF&S Consulting. Paul Walczyk from AOPA, Airport Support Network, volunteer. No members are absent. We do have a quorum. Reading of the minutes for May 23rd, 2024. Everybody get a chance to read those that Jessica posted? Anybody have any discussion on changing?
I move they be accepted as written.
Do we have a second?
Second.
T.Y., thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay? None? Motion carries. Thank you. Reports, financials, June 2024 account balances, please.
Account balances for our operating budget are looking great at this point of the year. Our annual liability premium was just paid with this claims docket. That cost was $7,705. It is a set annual amount from 2023 to 2026. I'm going to need to transfer $1,005 into that budget line by the end of the year, and I don't think we'll have a problem doing that. We had a load of Jet A come out of our fuel account in June as well, totaling $22,409.28, which brings us to 25% of our aviation fuel budget spent there.
Okay, fuel sales?
Fuel sales. Overall, we sold 1,758.9 gallons of 100 Lola, 2,078 gallons of Jet A, and 498.8 gallons of Swift Fuel in May. We're currently up 6% in gallons sold year to date from last year. Our current fuel prices are $5.34 for self-service avgas, $5.49 for full-service avgas, $4.24 for self and full-service Jet A, and $6.75 for self-service UL 94. And with that load of jet fuel we just got, our price did not increase.
Excellent. Current fuel prices. Airport manager report.
So our overhead door repair for that hangar, Ramsey Sheet Metal, they did come out and look at the overhead door and the door frame. They're going to be bringing out a lift to adjust the cables that are tying the door frame to the building to see if they can square the door and the frame. Then TriStar Garage will come out and change out the cables and pulleys as soon as the door is fitting square again. Their lift, they have two lifts and they were both somewhere taking up. So as soon as they're available, then they will bring it out and try and get the doors square again. AWAS high frequency antenna installation. I have received some pilot reports that our AWAS is once again broadcasting at 10 miles out, which is what's required. But we would still like it to come in a bit further. So I'm currently looking for a solution for that. I'm talking to our AWAS tech to see, is there anything else we can do? Is it just the system or what the issue is? So that's that.
Thank you.
T34 fly-in event and the annual pancake breakfast. Save the date. We're having a salute to service event on Thursday, July 18th around lunchtime for a T34 formation and flying event that the public will be invited to. There's going to be a food truck and announcer talking about the planes and the pilots as they arrive. The T-34 pilots are going to allow the public to eat lunch with them, take pictures with the planes. We're inviting out the veteran organizations, and we have many other highlights in the works for this event. So it'll be pretty cool, even though it is Thursday at lunchtime. It's right before Oshkosh, and the T-34s will be on their way to Oshkosh. Last year we had 10. Usually it's between 10 and 16, so it should be a really cool event.
T-34s, you said?
Yep.
Is this all promoted to on the Michigan City?
Not yet, because we're still planning, but yes, it will be.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Are the flyers aware that they will fly through here?
Yes, they're going to be landing here, and they're going to stop here and figure out their formation and what they want to do, but this year we're just going to do an event around it. They did it last year too. Super great group. They only could bring half of them in last year because of weather. So the weather from the east was great, but some came up from the south and they couldn't get here, so they had to fly around a big blurb into Illinois. So, yeah, we just had a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce about the event, and I had a meeting with the guy that's head of the T-34 formation, and we also had a meeting with our event planner for the city and assistant event planner for the city, and my marketing intern, and we all got together and planned it out. So everybody knows what they're gonna do, and it's gonna come together pretty well. Annual pancake breakfast. It's going to be Sunday, June 28th, July, not June, July 28th, from 7 to 11.
Okay, hold on. So I thought this was the T-34s were flying in for the pancake breakfast.
No.
July 18th.
They're flying in for lunch on July 18th.
So that's July 8th. That's a separate event.
Correct.
Okay, so the pancake breakfast is when?
It's July 28th.
July. So that's almost during Oshkosh or after?
Both are, yeah. Sunday at the end of Oshkosh is our pancake breakfast, and the Thursday before Oshkosh is when the T-34s are flying in to go to Oshkosh.
Nice.
So those are the two events. So we're having a planning meeting soon with the FOP to discuss those specifics. There's going to be plane rides available. Flight Saga is going to do plane rides. Troy is going to throw together a skydive demonstration. We have all kinds of cool things. The FOP is bringing out the motorcycles, the SWAT team, the K9 demonstrations, all the cool stuff that's like normal. We have the fire truck coming, the smokehouse. We were going to talk about inviting like Michiana Humane Society, see if they want to come out and do like adopt a dog, have a little section for that too. People love to see those dogs.
Wait a minute, we're just getting rid of dogs and now.
They'll be on leash. They'll all be leashed. So yeah, that's really funny.
So we can find them, we make some money.
So we invited the local CAP Cadet Senior Squadron out. We're just waiting on some information from the FOP to finalize our flyer. Then we're going to advertise the breakfast on social media, send flyers to local airports to post on their boards, email it out to tenants. They like to share it with their regional pilot friends, and it should be a very fun event. And we'll have all of Oshkosh traffic coming back from Oshkosh. So it should be a very busy day. NDOT Department of Aviation Annual Airport Inspection. So we've been working hard on getting ready for our annual airport inspection. It's going to happen by the end of this month. Usually in the month of June they come out. One of our beacon lights went out, so we had to have Marcos Electric come out and change one of the igniters for the lights. We tried to just put in a new LED bulb and that didn't work, and it was because some igniter needed changed out. We had to dig up 4 transformers on the runway lights and change those out. We've changed the windsock out. We weed sprayed, weed whacked around all the lights and taxiway markers. We've been track vacuuming and mowing like crazy just to keep up with all the rain that we received in April and May. Holy cow. We've been brush hogging the fields down. The farmer's been out to cut and bale the hay on the east side of the runway. We just started to work on clearing the fences out. We have to weed whack, weed spray, clear and mow 10 feet on either side of the airport perimeter fence. So our airport labor intern has been here about 2 weeks and has been such a big help. It's been awesome. And our new full-time laborer is starting on Monday, and our new part-time laborer will be starting June 24th. Then we'll be fully staffed for the first time in 3 years.
Excellent.
Hooray!
Yeah.
You and Rudy can breathe a little bit.
Gosh, right? That's all I have.
Thank you. Airport development.
Yeah, I don't have any action items this month, just report, confirm that we are in line for a CIP meeting, in October. But if you want a meeting earlier, we're more than welcome to go to the ADO. They accept visitors now. And, all the other program managers are making site visits. I asked Joe if he was going to, so we'll see. Yeah, he might come to you.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. So that's that. And then the runway crack sealing and surface coat, all we're doing is waiting on the grants right now. Some common theme, waiting on money.
Yes.
But this one is held up. Greg will love this because of Bob Ocean. The CADX is not approved. So we're waiting on Bob to start. It's not just Bob, there's 3 of them now. They're called EPSs, but we need the environmental signed off before they can issue the grant.
When's the this year?
It's October, is it the 12th to 15th? Something like that.
I'll look that up, and
Where is that, you know?
Terre Haute.
Terre Haute this year. Yeah.
Where is that? Is that in Indiana? I thought that was Kentucky.
It's almost Illinois.
Is that thing out this guy's good?
So we don't have a timeline for anything for the grants, just that supposed to invite her?
Well, the bill grants, they're starting to come out, and they're issuing a lot between now and the end of the month, actually. So you may get a bill grant. The NPE is normal AIP. So they passed we got a new authorization bill, but the FAA still doesn't know quite what to do with it. So they just came out at the end of last week with, we're gonna follow the same rules as the old process until we have a chance to evaluate the new process, which means you probably won't see that NPE portion until August or September traditionally. So that we could have one part of it and then get the later part in August or September. Amerisil of Ohio is okay with that.
Great.
As long as we award it sometime this season.
Right.
And if we award it in October, there's still,
Time to do it?
they feel good that they would be able to get it done.
Excellent.
What was it? Was it a 3-day project?
2 weeks is what we gave them. They likely will get it done faster than that. Particularly if we, so the way we had it is, if they were gonna do the parallel taxiway, we had it kind of in 2 phases so they could get in. So we had 7 days to do the runway. So basically the airport would be closed, except for helicopters, for 7 days, and then there was 7 additional days to do the taxiway. I think they can get it all done in 7 days if we allow them to close the entire parallel taxiway and the runway, which I don't think would be a big deal because nobody's going to use the parallel taxiway if the runway's closed.
Nope.
So,
Right. Could be quicker.
yeah. So, we'll see.
Good. Snow removal building, okay. Thank you, Cole.
That's just there's still a grant that's opened on it, and Andrew, he knows, Joe once a week on the closeout, so, we're just waiting on the closeout on that, and I think nothing big there. I think they still owe you $13,000 on the final, but you'll get it eventually.
Okay.
And the field farm, so basically we still have this 30% determination from the FAA. I know the city's getting antsy on the appropriation from the city council. We need to get something moving. IDEM has really been kind of non-responsive, not just to us, but to all airports. We do have another fuel project going that has a contractor, has bids, and that contractor's agreed to check with IDEM on yours. So last I heard, they wanted us to actually bid it out and solicit hard numbers on that. The issue is if by state law, you're really not supposed to bid something unless you intend to award it. You're supposed to have the money.
So it's a catch-22 because you don't know what's it gonna cost and.
Right. I mean, we do it with FAA a lot where we don't really have the money, but we have a reasonable expectation that the money will come.
Yeah.
So we usually go with that. But in this case, we really don't know if IDEM's gonna grant that money. So she's gonna check. That program's supposed to be 50-50, but they have done lesser percentages too. So we could go through all that work and just find out, well, they only want to fund 30% too. So we're working on it, and then I did get Paul's email regarding the unleaded fuel alternative, and I think that's a reasonable.
Depends on the timing.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable thing to consider. I'm not holding my breath on 2030, just because I've been doing this for 25 years and I've been hearing that it's coming any day now for 25 years. So it just keeps getting pushed down the road. So I would hate to put in an unleaded system without basically the UT, having it approved without any special exception on any aircraft, that would be a challenge, I think.
Now, why would a leaded system, you can't swap out the tanks, put UL 94 into a leaded tank? Once it's...
You can convert it. I believe you can convert it with some different seals and filters. So they're...
Who's saying?
Paul's idea was we put in an unleaded system above ground that would later, that when the FAA gets their act together, that would be your primary fuel source. And then we would use the low lead system that we have in the ground right now in the period of time, the 4 to 5 years until the FAA approves the replacement of that. But
I was going to talk about that in a minute, but should I just bring it up now?
yeah,
The thing that's different now is there was never a fuel that could be used in all aircraft, all piston aircraft. That's what's new. This G100UL, they got approval last year, is now approved for use in any piston aircraft, which doesn't exist, right? You can't use the L94 in my airplane, or a lot of airplanes. But the G100UL, you can use in any piston airplane. But the problem is you have to do that with an STC, right? It's like an alteration of anything else. So the owner has to pay for that STC, which in my case is like $500. Once you buy that STC, then you can run the unleaded gas. So what I think is really there's two ways you can do it. You can do it through the STC process, or the FAA can give a fleet-wide approval and say, hey, everybody can use this new fuel. You don't need an STC. It's just like 100 OLED or 110, whatever it used to be. No STC needed. Once that happens, I think that is when they will consider that the generally available fuel, and everybody will be able to use it. What's holding that up is ASTM approval of the standard. There's no ASTM standard for that fuel yet. So it's very political, unfortunately. But my thought process in this, everybody wants it. It's better for everybody. My thought process was, depending on the timing of the new tanks, if you told me those are going to be like 2 years from now, that may be the timing of when this new fuel becomes available. Then that would just be an easy transition. And I think show us as a leader, we're the first ones in the area to get it, just because we have the opportunity with a new tank to do it. I think a lot of people would come here to get it. It would, show environmental leadership to try and phase out the lead. And then whenever it's time to phase out the 100 low lead, then you just shut off the ground tank and get rid of it, and everything else stays the same. So that's my thought. It's an opportunity. There's a lot of things that would have to come together for that to work out. But it could help the airport look good as a leader in doing that.
Who makes this unleaded?
It was invented by GAMI, General Aviation Modifications Incorporated, fuel injector company.
Yeah.
So this guy George Braley concocted it.
Where's the production line?
Right now, it's some chemical company that they have like 1 million gallons right now ready to go. So it will, I'm guessing in the next year, be available to actually buy, but it's still very.
So we can't get it right now.
If you were trying to buy it today, I don't think you could buy it.
Okay.
But that's why I'm saying the timing is the question, right? Because if the tanks don't come until 2 years from now, that might be a good time. So
Because we saw how long it took Swift fuels to go from where they are today to where they started. It's been 5 or 6, 7 years to get to where they're at today, where, and then they're still kind of limited as far as how their outreach.
right, and that's the difference with this new fuel is anybody can use it.
Well, what Kirk was saying earlier, what if we got those new tanks, because we need them, we put 100 low lead in the new tanks, what do we have to do if we put that the no lead in the old tanks? Because we don't know who's going to buy it or what have you. Do you just have to drain it and has a special inspection process? Or?
honestly, I don't know, because I haven't researched that particular one. but I'm guessing it's probably pretty simple. If it can go in an airplane, it can probably go in the fuel system.
That's one of the things that's holding it up is, it's kind of like gotten past all the FAA hurdles, and now the supply chain is like, well, wait, what's this new fuel? What's the spec? Can we mix it with other fuels? Can we?
Right.
They do the same question, right? So it's moving forward, but now it's the next group of people interacting with it, trying to figure out what to do with it. So it's approved, you can mix it in the same airplane tank. That's not a problem, but in a ground tank, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's probably just different filters and seals, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But the other issue would be if there's only one supplier right now, the FAA is not going to approve fleet-wide until you have multiple options because
Competition.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
gotta be widely available.
they wouldn't.
I mean, if they're holding a patent that only they can produce it, then they can be able to.
Right, my guess is, but unless the environmental lobby gets more strength or something, I don't know, but like the LED runway light, there was one company that had LED runway lights for 10 years, but we couldn't get it approved because there was only one company, and the FAA wanted to have multiple sources because they're not allowed to sole source anything. So that was very frustrating because the technology was out there for a decade, but we couldn't use it.
Right.
If you use federal dollars. So, yeah.
So if you can do that, Kirk, and put the new fuel in the tank, we could do that. But my thought was just like, if that's the future, if that new fuel is the future, well, then now you gotta swap it again. And yeah, maybe it's not a big deal, maybe it's something you can do in a weekend just to swap the tanks, so.
Yeah.
Take
Drain it, flush it.
I think it's a good idea, for sure.
We should probably still maybe send out an email even to all of our tenants and say like, hey, would you guys be interested in, or like, no, just something to see what.
But I don't think it really matters to do that right now because they can't buy
I don't think, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people don't even know about this. This is pretty forward thinking,
Yeah.
so.
Can I ask you something, Paul? You said if the FAA will only fund 30%, and you said IDEM would they fund 50% of the remainder, the 70%, so 35%, and then would be a local match? Is that what you were saying?
I don't know, Kurt. I don't think that IDEM will participate if FAA is participating. So it'd be a 50-50 if you can get IDEM to go. But there's been no aviation fuel systems funded with IDEM money yet. And we're not the only ones. There's other airports and other consultants trying as well. And somebody wants to be the first, so then everybody else can go, well, they got it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, who is that pot that we had available for the fuel taxes that are supposed to go?
Right, we are getting that, and that's kind of creating a little bit of a problem, is because what Greg's talking about is last legislative session, IDEM collects 1 penny for every gallon of fuel sold in this state. And so then that penny goes into underground storage tank funds, even if it's an above ground tank. Every gallon, doesn't matter, below or above. So when you look at the amount of money that aviation had been collecting off of that, it was far in excess than what we'd claimed. And so we were successful, and we got legislation that says the excess every year gets swept into the aviation grant fund, right? And so that money is being swept in off of what is considered surplus. So they get to keep a certain reserve in there in case there's still a smaller leak, but everything above that gets swept in. So we've had basically 1 year of that now.
Okay.
Well, it's not even like 6 months because it wasn't started until July, right? Because so we have 6 months in there. There's only less than $1 million of fuel tank money going in there right now, but Marty's crew needs that to match bill because they weren't, but when they budgeted to match normal AIP and PE, but now they're trying to match 5% of the bill funds, which is basically double AIP for the state until 2026. So
That's how he's gonna do that?
that's how it's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not Marty anymore now, it's Marcus.
Right.
But yeah, so the NDOT has the money, but until 2026, bill funds are expended, they're using it to match.
Okay.
We don't
just
wait
wait.
till 2027.
Well, I
Like
mean,
for real.
the nice thing might be maybe the fuel is on a track. So I definitely think it's a good idea for all and something we should keep in mind. But hopefully we're not that far out, but.
Thanks, Paul. Anything else?
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks. Old business, nothing's on the agenda for that. New business, this brings up the Michigan City Airport pet rules and restraint resolution. Everybody get a chance to see some of the stuff that was proposed by the airport attorney? I know there's been a lot of tenants and guests that have had pets and animals without leashes and run around. Jessica and the rest of the board has been pretty lenient, trying to tell them they have to be on a leash, but it's gotten out of control and no one's really following the rules here. So I think that tentatively right now, we should look at this resolution of coming up with something, maybe fine tuning it, giving out a warning officially, and then we have here some first offenses, second offense with some fines. Any discussion? I don't think a motion right now for, I think, what's set, because this needs to really, I think, be fine tuned.
Yeah, I kind of like the way this is organized, but this resolution, it doesn't have a name, does it? 2014.
It's just the month
Yeah.
and then the number one, because it'll be our first one.
The way, I kind of like the way it's laid out, but I don't know about the fines, right? So first offense, $100, second offense, $250, third, $500, and then lease termination, and that's unrealistic, really. I mean, just for a pet, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, why would we terminate some of these, lease? Because, maybe there's something else that we could say there on that D clause. But termination, I don't see that as something.
That would be, that's kind of like the,
I'm okay with it for the fact that you just have a written warning, a fine. It's like speeding. How many times do you have to speed before you get your license revoked? I mean,
Well, termination means you're gonna leave. I mean, if you own your hangar and you paid for it and you just leave, tell somebody to leave. I mean, you terminate there. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's kind of like extreme. Maybe additional fines. Maybe a continuous fine.
what if somebody just wants
this could be a
to?
moneymaker.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I look at this as board guidance, is how I see it. And even though it says, what it says, we still kind of have to vote on each one of these. If somebody has an infraction, we still come to the board, and then we would vote on it. What's the report? Who reported it? That kind of thing. Any witnesses? That sort of thing. That said, yeah, okay, we agree. And then we make a motion. We're gonna fine them, or and then go from there. But it's still gonna be a vote, in my opinion. It will still have that vote opportunity. Well, it won't be automatic. This will just be
Like a hearing or something. I mean, you gotta get all
guidance for the board, so that nobody's surprised when they come before the board and say, hey, I want to petition my case, if you will.
Correct.
Then, they won't be surprised, well, I'm sorry you lost, and you're going to get fined $100 or whatever.
Did Bill Nelson pass judgment on this?
This was his resolution.
This is Bill?
This is Bill.
Yeah, but he also had secondary comments on the follow-up.
Discussion
Correct.
now.
On the follow-up.
Yeah, and you read through this. Okay.
So I think for the next meeting, at least look at this. I'd throw in some other stuff too, if you like, dislike, things we need to add. And then once we can come up to fine tune it, we can have a reading of it and then either accept or deny. and then start taking action on it. But I think we've been very kindly with people.
Yeah, I agree, and we need to publicize it and make sure everybody understands, maybe even
Right.
to the point where everybody kind of signs, I know the leases get renewed, but this might need to be an addendum, need to be addendum to the lease where they then acknowledge
Okay,
that this is
so
instituted.
The resolution, in the lease already, it says all future resolutions that the board passes, and that's where it comes to lease termination. So in the lease, it says your lease will be terminated if you're not abiding by the rules of the airport. That's the whole point of having a lease at the airport. So even if you don't put the fourth offense as lease termination, it is lease termination. That's what it states in their leases if they don't follow the resolutions that the board, propagates in the future. That's.
But besides like an email, we can also make sure that they come in and we can have something they sign, like,
Yeah.
I just saw this, it's something new, that I'm not getting surprised and blindsided. I'm aware of the new policy, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Right.
Just like be fair that everybody's on the same page. Because I see a lot of people are following the rules and other people have been just ignoring it. And Jessica does not need to be running around here telling people stuff and worried
And
about.
I don't want her to be the dog police either.
Correct.
You know.
And there's other people that are following the rules, they're afraid of dogs or riding their bike, they don't need a dog to chase them and nip at them, or they don't know if they're friendly or not friendly, but, the airport's not a dog park. But we all have our own animals and we love them, I've got my dog too, but you just gotta follow the rules. So,
I'll make a motion to table it.
yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we table this. I already had some changes that they had to for the next meeting on here.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right,
Need to take.
ordinance
Yeah,
of
we need a table motion.
4733, the general rules for all city boards, commissions, and committees. BOAC received confirmation monthly agenda meeting submission designation. Everybody get a chance to see that from the mayor's office? I went ahead online. It was real simple. It takes like 30 seconds. I filled out mine already on there. Basically, it's just to make sure that if there's any parties or members of the board or outside of Michigan City, just a self-disclosure that there's not any conflict of interest on there.
Or if there is, you need a.
Or if there is, exactly, so that they all know where everybody, stands, that there's not gonna be any problems on legality or anything like that. So it's fair, I think it's the right thing to do, and it's also shows transparency. Now, this ordinance, though, is that from us?
Okay, so the
That's where it
board,
comes from them.
yeah, so the only thing the board has to do is we have to confirm receipt. The board members have to
Okay.
confirm receipt at this
Okay.
meeting. And you have to do a designation for monthly agenda minute submission. So, those are the two things that you need to do.
You do the agenda minutes.
I do, so that would be your designation.
So right now officially, we are designating Jessica, which has been great for the monthly agenda and submission. So we're gonna continue with that.
Okay.
So we'll make it official for that. And then also, we have receipt of it, and you guys are acknowledging that you have
And
receipt.
the 28th, June 28th is when you have to submit, the conflict of interest statement by, and it's online submission.
Yeah, it was simple. All right.
It's simply a form, right?
And I'll remind you.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you again, T.Y.
No, I can go online, can I just?
it's like a PDF, you open it up, it's like a DocuSign.
Yeah, it's in there already.
It's kind of deceiving because it has a blank spot for your name, but you can't click on your name.
Okay, so can I go to this website and do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So if you fill in the first open cell and then continue at the bottom, then all of a sudden it auto-populates and fills in everything else on
And
there.
then just, how do you send it back?
It just says submit, and then you type your name at the bottom, and
Okay,
then it's like a
Okay,
DocuSign,
that's fine.
yeah. Cool, so,
Got it, thank you.
do I have a motion for the acceptance of the ordinance for?
Make a motion.
Thank you, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, thank you. Claims docket, and amount, everybody get a chance to see that one that was just sent to us by Jessica.
Yeah. I will read the claims docket as written. In the amount of 32,844.99.
Thank you, Doug. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public comments? Anybody?
Well, I have a couple things. The runway ceiling crack repair, are you expecting that to be like November-ish?
No.
It depends on when the grant comes. I would think it would be in October,
Yeah.
based on our current, guess on when the money will come.
And then, Jessica, there's a new website or app that's becoming very popular called Social Flight.
Okay.
And, I only learned about it probably 3 months ago, but it's becoming pretty popular. It's a way to put in like, hey, where are you going? And it lists all the things going on in those places. So
Oh, cool.
that would be a great place to advertise pancake breakfast, tea
Awesome.
tours, even like local attractions and restaurants.
Very cool. I will check
See
that out.
what the local things are to do there, gives them that place to go. Like a good job from Jared. And then the VHF, the AWAS radio, I mean, I want to believe it's better, but I can't honestly tell much of a difference. When I was flying back yesterday from Grand Rapids, it didn't come on until 12 miles out, and it was still pretty scratchy.
What else? Do you remember what you're at?
5,000.
5,000?
Yeah, I would say the same.
Okay.
So it's
What do we want it to?
still scratchy, even within the areas involved, but push it back, and it's just like, you know.
I was wondering, do you think we could send something to the airport tenants, just to have them, as they, kind of like a beehive, as they're out there at different altitudes, make note, and so that we bring this in and we can pass it on to our guide, like, it's not just a certain distance, it's not a certain altitude. Here, I mean, it really helps probably with the troubleshooting of like, we've got multiple altitudes, multiple distances, or I don't know what.
So you were 5,000, and you got it when you were like 12.
12 miles out is when I finally broke the squelch. Now, if I broke the squelch manually, I could hear it behind and scratchy, but at the same time, I could hear Valparaiso, which is 37 miles further,
Yeah.
loud and clear. So it's,
I don't know.
Something interference, probably.
there's something, I don't know.
They must have a good one.
I'm guessing the radio transmitter wattage is less.
Yeah.
Or via but
That connection, so I don't know, it doesn't seem right, so.
Okay.
Oh, it wasn't set up right. I thought that was a new antenna, right?
It is.
Supposedly a better.
It's a high frequency, yeah.
So you think it's a power, so it's just a power
Yeah.
outage?
Bad wires.
Yeah, that wires or connectors is very likely.
Alright.
So, anyway, just wanted to.
No, it's new stuff, we don't, if no one tells us, we don't know.
most of them should be a 5-watt transmitter, so if it's anything less than 5 watts, you probably need to upgrade the transmitter. If it's
Okay.
5 watt,
10 watts is
you got your antenna, check all the cable between.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's it, thanks.
Alright, thanks.
But everything works now, though. I mean,
Yes.
everything comes in
Correct.
nicely. I mean, you
The
can-
wind is great.
Yeah, so everything works, so, yeah.
Scott Mellon, Fair Place, just a curious citizen.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
The T-34 sounds really exciting, and you're doing a lot of outreach. Jessica's doing a lot of outreach. The thing I thought was get kids involved somehow, and I thought of the Social Status of African American Male Committee. But I know with the events coordinator, they've got contact, or maybe does high school have an aviation club?
Yeah.
I don't think that they do. We
What about the drone
now
club?
have a civil air patrol that just started a squadron. It's a cadet and a senior squadron, and they meet at the armory down by the beach. So I reached out to them, see if they wanted to get involved and stuff, so they can set up a booth, so when people come out, they can find out about the
Sounds great.
civil air patrol.
The city's giving out a lot of ARPA money because there's a deadline by the end of the year. It has to, you use it or lose it. And when they just granted $2.4 million of stuff, and I didn't see the airport. I don't recall hearing the airport on that list. So I think there's still excess money that you guys might try to petition them for, maybe for a new transmitter.
Ah.
Get a 10-watt transmitter.
Right?
And it feels,
So we can.
We need to, but we can spend their money.
It sounds like we're gonna go through an unleaded transition. It sounds like you guys are looking at your tank, a new above ground tank or something. It sounds like since there'll be a transition, maybe the above ground tank what's the above ground tank for?
It's for fuel. We're just gonna remove our underground tanks and move them to above ground.
They're at the end of their age.
Oh, so you got it.
Yeah, they don't underground stuff anymore.
My whole idea was that if you were adding a new tank, that it'd be a transitional tank that could handle the initial new G100 or the 100. And then as the transition goes through, that your old tanks could be converted, but it sounds like the old tanks are all done.
Yeah, they're being removed.
But it sounds like there'll be transitions, so maybe we have a transitional tank that holds over for a couple
That
of
was
years.
his proposal. We keep the old stuff in
Yeah.
the tank and keep it commissioned until the new stuff is on.
And yeah, as far as the dog rules, I have a real estate background. I was like, that goes in the lease. I mean, so does the lease come up for renewals? Obviously, clearly you have a clause that you can add things. And my suggestion would be that the first one, the warning and the $100 fine, be at the airport manager level, where you don't need board approval.
Yeah.
But if you have a repeat offender, because it's always a couple bad apples, most people here are going to be responsible. But up to and including lease termination, that would be a board review.
Correct.
So I would have language to that kind of, to that effect.
Thank you.
That's all, just, I might have missed you guys, you use so many acronyms that I'm not familiar with. I was here to hear about the update on the runway extension, and I kind of missed where that was.
Well, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, that's the improved runway 2 and 20. That report. We're waiting on money.
Yeah, of course.
Right, that's the CIP meeting stands for Capital Improvement Plan meeting, and that basically is our list of projects, and it has all the dollar amounts on there,
That's
so.
what I put in there.
The FAA is
Exactly what
really
it's
short
ordered.
for the small.
Are we still at $28 million?
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, sure.
That's why we want to get it locked in.
And I had a friendly conversation with a foreman. He's medical now, he's not a pilot anymore. But the extension of the runway, if we get it when it's built, does that add to our capability as far as what jets can land here
Yes,
Absolutely.
without restrictions?
yes.
No, but there's still that.
Not the big, not the,
Well, I mean, to the small jets, the Gulfstream,
Yeah.
corporate jets.
I mean, it'll be 5,000 feet, which, if you want so the way it's set up, it would serve 75% of the business jet fleet
Mhm.
at 60% useful load. So they still couldn't come in at
I
100%
see.
of fuel and full passengers on a hot summer day. But they could, if they restricted passengers or they restricted fuel on a hot summer day, they could still come in.
And-
But 5,000 feet isn't the miracle cure. You can't just fly anywhere you want.
And how do those metrics compare with the current runway?
Oh, well, most business jets won't fly in on less than 5,000 feet because of their insurance.
Right. I was here to explain that before, that they just can't, they basically can't do it even with
They
restrictions.
can, but it's at their own risk.
Well, without
they
insurance.
do, some
Right.
of them do, but, you know, that's,
And even then, it's at 80 or 60% low, it's kind of a thing.
yeah.
Okay, thanks so much. Sounds like you guys appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other public comments? No? That concludes everything on the agenda for today. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I make the motion that we're adjourned.
I
Is there a
said,
second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. That concludes.